Hi guys. I hope you can see me. There we go. Hi. Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope you can see me. Oh my goodness. You can see a pile of stuff over there. Here, can I turn this a little bit so you don't see it as much? There we go. How's it going? How y'all doing? I'm a little early now. Um, if you can hear this and see, oh, oh, I don't look I don't look dewy. If you can see this, I'm using this new thing on this streaming thing on the Facebook, and I can't see when you pop on, which I really, really, really don't like. So if you could leave a comment and let me know you can hear me and that everything is going well, I would really, really, really love and appreciate it. This is Light Hour. I'm Karen Walrond. I am the creator behind the blog chickalunks.com. I am the podcaster behind the Make Light Show. I am the author of The Beauty of Different and a new book that's coming out next year that I'd love to tell you about today. And this is our time when we get together and connect no matter where we are in the world. So it's called Happy. It's like happy hour. We'll be together probably a little less than an hour, but it's like happy hour. But so I have my wine with me. And if you are sober or just not in the mood to drink right now, or it would be inappropriate for you to drink right now, I have my mug of steaming hot tea with me as well, to join you. So salud. Um, is anyone there? Can someone leave me a comment and just let me know that you can hear me and that things are coming out okay with this whole thing? I would really appreciate it. So anybody there? I feel like I'm yelling into the void. If somebody can just say hi in the comments, I'm here. Here, I'm going to leave a comment too. Oh, there, I see somebody who just said Sophia's here. Good. I'm glad you're here. Okay, I was not here last week. Sorry about that. I actually I was needed offline, so I couldn't do it. Hi, Sophia. I see your waving hands. Thank you. Um, I couldn't make it last week, which it happens. Life happens. But I'm glad to be back with you here today. Uh, God, is what week is this since we went into quarantine? 200, 300? I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. Um, I had a friend who, well, I still have a friend, but I had a friend who told me for whatever reason, she ended up going into seclusion a couple of weeks before the rest of us did here in the US. I don't know if she was just ill, not coronavirus, but just ill, and so was down for the count for that. And then by the time she came out, the world was locking down. And she said, she actually shared on Facebook that for her weeks 3 and 4 were the really tough ones. And then she kind of came out of it. And even though I think it's actually week 5, this is the end of week 5 for us here. I feel like I'm in that rough, or actually I feel like this week was the rough time for me, emotionally. Well, not emotionally, I don't want to make it sound worse than it is, because honestly, my mood has been okay. Like I haven't been in any depression or anything else like that at all. But it felt a little despairing, like a little hopelessness, I think, this week. So if you are feeling that, where you are, if you're feeling a little bit of hopelessness, a little claustrophobia, maybe a little disconnectedness, definitely say something in the comments so I can shout you out and uh, let you know that we all feel it. It's totally normal to be feeling a little weirded out by everything that's going out right now. And this light hour is sort of my attempt to kind of reach across the maw and let you know I'm here and we're all in this together and doing whatever we can to stay connected, right? So here we go. I went and asked, as usual, what people wanted to talk about, and somebody mentioned something about how to handle this for the long haul, because who knows how long it's going to be like this. And I found that question a little discouraging, but honest and practical, and it totally makes sense. That should be the case, and I would. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel like I don't want to call this a new normal because God help us if this is the new normal, but I feel like it's time to kind of hit a quarantine normal, a corona normal, a covidia normal, something like that. Something, some sort of normal for while we're dealing with this, right? Um, and what I'm finding, because I think a lot of people say things like, I don't even know what day it is anymore. Like the days kind of bleed into each other. If you're new to working from home, you probably find yourself working from home all the damned time. Like weekends, what are weekends, right? Um, and so uh, I wanted to just kind of share some stuff about what I'm doing to try to help combat that. Um, that kind of works for me. At some of the things I don't know if they work yet. I'm just sort of trying them out, but I wanted to share them with you. So the first thing, I will tell you, I'm a creature of routine. I love routine. Routine is my safe space, and so I have really tried, and it's sort of starting to click in right now to have a sort of a routine going for my days. Um, so I think I've told you guys about my social distancing happy hour that I have with my neighbors. That still goes on during the work week, which is really great. So at 5 o'clock, I meet my neighbors outside, and my husband and I sit on our curb, and our neighbors sit on their curb, and we all bring our own glass of wine out there. And it's just about an hour. It's not, we gotta go home and make dinner and stuff like that. But it's just sort of a really, it's become a lovely ritual to kind of shut down my workday every day. Um, because I know people are waiting for me, right? Like, and I haven't made them all. I will admit I haven't made them all, but usually my neighbor will text me and she'll say like, I'm gonna be out in 5 minutes or whatever, and it's like, okay, well then I know I got to wrap it up, right? Like it's time for me to wrap that up. So I really would strongly recommend doing some sort of ritual at the end of the day. To kind of close your day down. Does that make sense? So that's one thing. And then the other thing I try to do is, so I try, let me preface this. All right. You know how some people have a love-hate relationship with working out and exercise? I want to be very clear. I have a hate relationship with exercise. I hate it. I don't like it. It's not fun for me. But I feel like, and there's actually a study that I'll share that says that people who have regular exercise tend to deal with the effects of COVID-19 better. I am a little skeptical about it because for those of us who watch CNN, Chris Cuomo, who's one of the anchors on CNN, got hit with coronavirus, and he got hit bad. Like that knocked him on his ass. And he's really fit. Like he actually, he shares on Instagram like workout tips and workout stuff. So like he's a really fit, and it hit him. So so I don't know. I mean, this coronavirus thing seems so random, and it hurts. It hits some people so hard and hits some people like barely at all. But it can't hurt, right? So I have been really trying to be very good, and I actually start my day with moving. But my rule is that I don't do it on weekends. Like, so I'm doing it. I'm really trying hard to do 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, but not on weekends, which makes me look forward to weekends. So if you're having a problem sort of separating your work week from weekends, I would strongly recommend like doing the chore you hate somehow on the weekdays, and then keep the weekends free, blissfully free. I've seen some people, Amanda McGee, I love your voice. Thank you, darling. I miss your face. I love your face. I miss your face. Also, I hope, again, I can't tell how many people are on here. I hope there's several of you, but don't forget to get your beverage, whether or not it is a lovely cup of tea or coffee or soft drink, or you need something a little harder. By the way, a friend of mine this week or today shared an article from the World Health Organization that says that they warn against drinking alcohol because it can affect if you get coronavirus. I just think that's really, really mean. I just want to go on record for that. Um, anyway, where was I? So yes, so like I work out in the weekdays and not in the weekends. All right. Um, to that end, the thing. So I think I've shared this before. Like working out, I don't like it, but I've decided that if I play, that it's not as bad as working out. So I call it play or movement or something else. And so the way that I play, and I know this sounds totally weird and cheesy, but I mean, if I can't be weird and cheesy with you guys, who can I be weird and cheesy with? I jump rope. The jump roping has sort of become my thing in the garage. I jump rope, and what I do is I have wrist weights that I use to jump rope to make it a little harder, um, and then and then so I break it up. So I have 15 minutes that I jump rope, and I'm not good at it. I'm getting better. I'm getting better, but I'm not good at it. And then I take 10 minutes. I stop and I take 10 minutes, and I'll either walk about a mile and a half, um, or so 10 to 15 minutes and do that. Or if the weather's bad or I don't feel like walking, I hula hoop for 10 minutes. And then I go back after that's done, and I go back and do another 15 minutes of jump rope. So I'm doing 30 minutes of jump roping and 10 to 15 minutes of either hula hoop or walking. And that's kind of my day. Now, what I've been doing pretty much when I do that is I'll set some music, right? Like I go to Spotify and find a workout playlist and I put that on and just sort of go. And this is one of those really things that, like, when I think about that, yesterday I was looking up like jump rope working out or just little things on jump roping, and I found a video that was things I wish I knew before I started jump roping. So I went to it, and one of the things that they suggested, which I can't even believe I didn't think about it, was listening to podcasts while you jump rope, which, I mean, it seems so obvious, but like podcasts, I don't generally listen to podcasts very often. My habit has been that whenever I'm traveling, whenever I'm on a plane, I listen to podcasts. But usually just like around the house, I don't. But this morning I tried listening to a podcast or two, and it was great because I literally was concentrating so much on what the person on the podcast was saying that I wasn't really thinking about dying using the jump rope. So that's like a really kind of cool idea if you're looking for like how to stay moving and motivated. And I find like it works if you're doing something really repetitive like jump roping. My husband's a trail biker, and I would not necessarily recommend that because, like, things jump out at you on trails and stuff. So I don't know about, but if you're doing something and you're used to like going to a gym or used to having a group of people, and now you're finding yourself sort of isolated at home, I find it's a way to actually feel productive while I'm working out because I'm learning something or I'm being inspired by something. And so that's been really, really helpful. There's lots of comments. Let me go see what you got there before I go into the next thing. So Sophia says, my daughter and I work out with one of her scout bookies in the morning before school. I'm finding I'm starting to sleep a little longer, not waking up in the middle of the night. And I'm with you about exercising over the weekend. I don't do that. But what a great idea. And that's the other thing, right? Like it's the other thing about movement that two people have said to me recently who would know. They're, sort of like psychologist types, right? They say that we often hold trauma and stress in our body, and one of the ways to kind of release that trauma or stress or anything else is through movement. That we need to move our bodies to discharge it, and I think that's right. Like I think so. I don't like I am not looking at the jump roping thing really as well, I don't want to get the quarantine 15 or anything like that. Like I'm not looking at it that way. It's more of a recognizing that I am under a weird sort of stress right now, and everything's unsettled, and especially like sort of the news is sort of weird. And so my working out daily is more about discharging whatever stress might be building up because of this, and really nothing more. So that's helpful for me, actually. Um, Natasha Nichols, hi, sweet girl. She says that in her home they're having a lot of dance parties. The U.S. Navy took any love of exercise from me, so dance it is. So lovely, sweet Natasha is a vet, and yeah, I imagine probably boot camp would take any love of exercise away. So dance parties are huge. I love that. Natasha says this sounds like an awful lot like you're enjoying exercise. No, no. Let's be clear. I do not enjoy this. I do not enjoy skip roping. And like, trust me when I tell you, if I didn't have the podcast, like even with the music, all I'm thinking about is how much longer till I can stop doing this. Like I really, really hate it. But today was the first time that I wasn't thinking that. I was instead thinking about the podcast. But there was never a point where I was like, oh, this feels great. That does not happen for me. The only thing that feels great is putting the stuff away. That does not happen for me. Sweet Han says, I'm working out as my me time, so I do it more before quarantine and it energizes me. I'm certainly doing more of it than I was before quarantine. I love that it energizes you. Like I said, I haven't gotten there yet, but yeah, so there's that. So move is basically my thing, is if you can move. If there's any way you can move. There's all kinds of YouTube stuff and everything like that. For me, like I said, when I first started, I was like, what can I do that I actually loved doing when I was a kid, that I could do more of at home? And so bike riding kind of would be it, but I have no desire to get on a bike because I used to love riding a bike. But for me, biking has always been a form of transportation, not exercise. And I have a bike, but I don't get on it. Roller skating, which actually sort of appeals to me because I used to be a huge roller skater, but I'm afraid of like falling and breaking something and then having to go to the hospital, and the hospitals are sort of busy right now. So I wanted to stay away from that. And then like jump rope and hula hoop, which I could have ordered the tools online. Now I actually had them before we went into lockdown, but they're easy to get. So that's that. Okay. The next thing that somebody suggested that we talk about was podcasts, which brings me to this. Again, I told you I have never been a big podcaster, or a podcast listener, which is ironic because of course I have a podcast called The Make Light Show. Fun fact, I've never actually listened to one of my own episodes from beginning to end. That's probably pretty sad to hear, but that has to do with weird insecurities and that kind of thing. But yeah, so I do like podcasts, but I don't listen to them often. So I required a little bit of research. And so I want to share a couple of the ones that I have listened to in the past that I've enjoyed. One new one from a friend of mine, and some that I'm going to go take a look at. So the first ones that I have listened to in the past are How I Built This, by is it Guy Raz? I forget, one of the NPR people, right? How I Built This. Oprah's Masterclass, which it doesn't look like she's updated recently, but the thing I loved about Oprah's Masterclass, I like Oprah. I'm not one of those big, huge fan girls of Oprah, but I like her a lot. But what I loved about the Masterclass is it's not her interviewing people, and let's be clear, she's a masterful interviewer. It's just people talking about their lives, and she's had civil rights icons and actors and all kinds of really cool people just talking about how they got to be who they are, and I find those really, really, really inspiring. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention my friend Brené's new podcast called Unlocking Us. There's some great content that she's putting out. And right now she is putting out an episode, like 2 episodes a week or something like that, which is like a crazy amount of content. But it's really, really good. And there's one episode, I don't remember which number it is, but the title of it is Comparative Suffering, the 50-50 Myth, and Settling the Ball. And that was the one I listened to this morning while I was jump roping, actually. And it's really topical because she's putting out so much. Like, it's really, really topical on what she's doing. So if for any reason you're feeling with a little despair around around the coronavirus and being locked down and that kind of thing, I would really recommend that episode especially, but all of them are really, really good. And then I kind of wanted to find funny ones because I think probably funny would be really good right now. If you guys have any recommendations, by the way, for any podcasts, I would love if you would put them in the comments here because I'm looking for them now that I know I can jump rope and listen to them. But I found some a good housekeeping link that said has the 25 best comedy podcasts of the year. So I will link that in the notes afterwards. But I'm all into that. And then I thought, as research for this, I would find some faith-based or spirituality-based ones because I think a lot of us will kind of like hang on to our spirituality in times when there's a lot of stress. So the one that I have listened to is The Way of Love by Reverend Michael Curry. At least I think you say Reverend. He's the bishop. He's the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church. So he's like the head honcho of the Episcopal Church here in America, sort of like the equivalent of the Pope, except just for America and for Episcopalians. If you're not familiar with him, you probably aren't and realize it. He's the guy who did the sermon for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding. He's a really wonderful orator. He talks. His podcast is called The Way of Love, and he's a very comforting sort of soul. He has this really lovely, comforting voice. It's like Grandpa is talking to you. So that's actually quite a fun podcast. And then I went to Twitter and I was looking for, and I specifically asked for faith-based but non-Christian podcasts because I don't know of any. And Twitter was decidedly unhelpful because I was like, does anybody know any Buddhist or Sikh or Muslim or Jewish podcasts that they can share? And nobody had anything. I mean, there was just silence. It was crickets. But one podcast that everybody kept bringing up was On Being by Krista Tippett, which I do listen to. I had forgotten, but I had subscribed to it. And it's a very good sort of spirituality podcast. But I would say it's not of any denomination or anything. It's really sort of just getting in touch with your spirit. So that might be really, really helpful for you as well. Okay, let me look at the comments again. There's more. Amanda McGee says headstand contest can't be great fun with family. I think you meant can. No shame in using cushions. And that would not be fun because remember what I said about trying to avoid the ER? I would kill myself, but my daughter probably could do it. I love that. I love the idea of headstand contests. Michelle Johnson Garrett says, hey, Michelle. Natasha laughed at me calling her lovely, sweet Natasha. Okay, she's a little prickly, but she's so sweet. So there you go. Brian Thomas, it's a good show, Karen. Brian is my wonderful sound guy for the Make Light show. It is a good show. I have to admit that my show is I'm very proud of it, even though I haven't listened to any episodes. That's more about just hearing my own voice. Like, it's really weird for me to hear that. I've never even listened to one of these Facebook Lives again. After I've done them, but I've had some amazing guests on it. Brian is magical. He makes my voice sound great. And so yes, please go also listen to the Make Light show because it is all about making light. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I just ended my 5th season like a couple of weeks ago. We'll do it again. Probably it's probably going to be a few months because of some wonderful news I've had this week, which we will talk about in a second. But go listen to it. There's a lot of really great episodes back there. And Brian, darling, I love you. So there you go. Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Presiding Bishop Curry is pretty awesome. Got to meet him on a few occasions. He's such a kind soul. And I'm really very jealous of you for that, Kevin, because he's just the sweetest guy. So I recommend that. Okay. I need a sip. Sorry. Cheers, everybody. I'm drinking that because my tea, I think, is still hot. Let me take, all right, for those of you who are sober, let me, actually, it's perfect right now. Okay, you guys still doing good? All right. So then the final thing that somebody has suggested that I talk about today is my new book. Guys, I'm going to be writing another book for oh my gosh, which is fantastic and exciting and really lovely and sort of surprising. So let's just come real clean with you guys. So after my first book, The Beauty of Different, I wrote, I think it's at 10 years now. I think it was a decade ago that I wrote that book and shot that book. And it was a very, oh, I should have had a copy with me. I don't think I have a copy. I don't have a copy on me nearby, unfortunately. But so that book is very chock full of photographs, and it looks a lot like, if you are familiar with my blog with chocolunks.com, karenwalren.com. If you're not familiar with it, go there and you can find it. It's very photo rich. There's a lot of photography and essays on it, in it, and it was a very dear, sweet book to work on. Some really beautiful stories that were in it. That were not from me. I interviewed a lot of people who shared their stories with me, and those are the stories I'm talking about. Some really lovely stories of amazing people that who were really, really inspirational in the way they took something about themselves that perhaps other people might judge them for, and actually turned it into sort of their superpowers, or they identified them as their superpowers and use those weird, quirky things to help change the world. So it's a lovely book, and I wrote it 10 years ago. It went through 3 printings, and that was great. And then about 3-4 years ago, I wrote a second book that was very similar, with a lot of photography again and writing in it, very similar. And it was about basically it featured women who were over 40 and doing amazing things, because I felt like that was something that the world needed. So I wrote the book, it was done, turned it into my publisher, the same publisher for the first book. And then a year later, it was crickets. I hadn't heard anything from them. And when I finally prodded them a couple times to say what's going on, they told me that they weren't going to be able to publish it for all kinds of heartbreaking reasons. So so that kind of lay fallow. So it just sort of died on the vine. And a lot of friends were like, "Oh, you should go shop it with another publisher." And honestly, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So it's there. It's there. So imagine my surprise when at the beginning of the year, this publisher reached out to me, a different publisher, totally different publisher, reached out to me because they had signed up for my newsletter. And as if you sign up for my newsletter, you get a series of free PDFs over the course of 2 months. You get like 5 or 6 emails that have just these short essays and images, a lot of photography again, because I can't really talk without photography, about sort of my philosophy on life, what it means to make light, why I constantly say, look for the light, that kind of thing. And so this publisher had signed up for it, and she emailed me and she said, I think we could work together. So she approached me. She actually even was the person who came up with the idea of the intersection of joy and activism, which is what this new book is going to be about. And I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about writing this book. And the reason that I'm so excited about it is, like the first book, I'm going to be interviewing people for their wisdom, in addition to sort of giving my own thoughts about what it means to make light and how to use what's your gifts in a way that helps change the world. I'm going to be interviewing people, really good friends of mine that you've heard of, have already agreed to sign up to be a part of this book. And so I signed the contract this week, and I have to turn in the manuscript the very beginning of December, which is a really short amount of time to write a book, because Oh my God. I still have to do the interviews and everything else. But that's what the book's going to be. It was not going to have photographs. When I shared that on a couple of places, people were like, what do you mean no photographs? So the thing about photographs, books with photographs are really expensive. I mean, to print all that color and everything can be really, really expensive. So this one is not going to have photographs. I'm hoping that they will let me use a photograph for the cover, at least. But we'll see. You know, they're the ones that get to decide that sort of thing. So yeah, so it's going to be mostly my essays and interviews, but I promise I'll be putting my heart into it because even though, like I said, it wasn't something necessarily that originated with me. It's something I have a lot of passion around, and so I can't wait to share this stuff with you. So that's that. Oh, and another news, that first publisher that I had that published The Beauty of Different has since gone out of business recently, like in the last few weeks. And so I have a few of the unsold books that I have them. So they're available on the website. If you would like to buy one, I'll sign it directly to you. Unfortunately, I have to only ship in the US. So I'm sorry, my Canadian, Trinidadian, African, Australian, British, Kiwi friends. I'm not going to be able to get that to you. I think Amazon still has a couple of books available. So I won't be. So if you want to get on Amazon to grab it, a couple of The Beauty of Different, then definitely do that. Unfortunately, that will be unsigned, but I will happily sell signed copies to anybody who has a US address. So go check out KarenWalden.com. Okay. So that's that. Oh, Sophia, I ordered mine. Oh, thank you so much, Sophia. I appreciate that. Oh, speaking of which, so many of you have already ordered them. That thing that you see lying there over there those are like boxes, mailing boxes. So I thank you so much for those of you who already have ordered them. I hope, please give me a little grace. I'm trying to get like boxes and everything. And of course, like when I order boxes because of this coronavirus, it takes a little while to get them. So as soon as I get them, I will package them up and they will be on their way. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Any questions about anything, guys? Is there anything that I should have talked about here? Any podcasts y'all are listening to? How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? How are you doing? What are you doing that's helping work other than dance parties and headstand contests? What else are you doing that that might be helping you through this time? Please leave a comment. Let me see what else we've got here. Did I miss anybody? I think I've gotten most of the comments here. What else is going on? You know what? Let me just say this. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine that about sort of the cheeriness and the cheeriness that I'm seeing online, that both of us are seeing online about oh, I'm doing this and I'm making this, I'm doing it, and how annoying it is. So I hope that I am not. No, I don't want you to think any. If you see any cheeriness from me, one, it's heartfelt. It's not performative. I am. If I'm laughing, I'm laughing. But two, I also don't want to minimize how difficult this is. Right? Like, I am Look for the Light Girl, and I do believe that you can find good in any day, even difficult days. I believe that wholeheartedly. I've lived it. It saved my life to do that. It saved in my sanity to do that during Hurricane Harvey, for sure. That was something that I did. So I do deeply believe in that, but I don't want you to ever think that that anything that I share here is some sort of performative thing, or like, oh, you should be happy. Like, what? Life is wonderful and amazing, and you should just smile through it. Like, no, I don't believe that. I mean, this is some really, really, really hard stuff, right? Like, this is hard stuff that we're going through. What I do hope you take from it is that the hope that perhaps there are still glimmers of light even in dark times. that we are connected. We continue to be connected even as we are separating from each other. Um, and then I hope I share some stuff that maybe you can try in your own lives to help um, ease some of the discomfort. That I think is what I want to be really, really mindful of. That it's about easing that discomfort and taking a breath as you face all of the challenges that you'll be facing. I know that, not only is this virus just horrible, and that people are losing lives and losing loved ones. And if I think about it too much, it's so hard. But there's also the part about losing jobs, and also the part of loved ones. Like we have doctors and nurses and hospital administrators in our family that are going to work every single day, and sort of in the maw, and we worry about them for sure. Marcus and I have had family members who have contracted coronavirus as well, or COVID-19, and happily those family members are on the other side of it and are recovering. But I don't want to ever give the feeling that life is just perfect and we are just perfect and happiness is just a thing you can have if only you just put your mind to it. I don't want to ever give that impression. This is hard stuff we're dealing with. This is scary stuff we're dealing with. This is isolating stuff we're dealing with. And I hope that when you join me on the Light Hour, or if you join me on the Make Light Show, if you join me over at chickalunks.com or any of or you read a book, that what it does is provide you some comfort, because that's really what I hope to do with this. And also, one more thing. So this book that I'm writing, that the intersection of joy and activism. One thing I think about activism is a lot of us, and this is going to be the premise of the book, that a lot of us tend to think of activism as, being willing to get tear gassed or arrested for what you believe in, or standing in front of tanks that are ready to mow you down, or sort of these huge, big, colossal acts of activism, which are amazing and wonderful and inspirational and needed. But also needed are the ways that you can use the gifts that you have and the talents you have and the skills that you have to help provide that sort of comfort and hope and connection in the face of injustice or unkindness. So if you're out there making masks, God bless you. I can't sew a stitch, but that's activism. And if you are, hosting happy hours with your friends, that's activism. And if you are making food and leaving them on front porches of friends and neighbors who could not otherwise, that's activism. Like, that's all activism. And the world needs more of that. So, all right, end of sermon. Cheers, everybody. Happy Light Hour. Cheers to you. I send you so much love and so much light. Hang in there. You are loved. I send you my love. And chin up, my loves. All right? Hang in there. Hang in there. Be gentle. Go gentle. And take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of each other. Okay. Bye, my friends. Take good care.